If you still believe working harder is enough to survive the next AI wave, then you are putting yourself to sleep. This game no longer rewards the person who grinds the most. It rewards the person who changes with the rules the fastest. From 2026 to 2029, a whole set of technologies will step out of the screen and move straight into your job, your income, and your place in the market. I am Max, from 5 years in the future. And today, I am going to tell you which technologies are coming for your work, why the crowd will break before it even understands what is happening, and what path is still left for the people who do not want to become victims. Why does the same wave of technology wipe some people out while pushing others higher? Why can so many disciplined, hardworking people still lose badly over the next 3 years? Is the thing killing your job a chatbot, a team of AI agents, or a whole ecosystem of machines stepping into the real world? We are about to break all of that down right now. Welcome to today's story. 3 years of purge in the AI era. And now, stay with Survive AI. This video is not here to sell you some easy dream of getting rich. It is here to expose the wave that is coming, show you which technologies are truly dangerous, and give you a survival map that is practical enough to keep you from getting blindsided. Because in this phase, the most dangerous thing is not lacking knowledge. The most dangerous thing is thinking the old rules still work. Imagine a very normal morning. You open your laptop, check your email, look at a full calendar, and think you are still fine. In your mind, AI is still something happening somewhere else. A writing tool, a question-answering bot, something interesting, but not strong enough to touch your seat yet. That is the first illusion, because this wave does not begin with one big explosion. It begins when small pieces of your job start getting pulled out and handed to a system. One tool summarizes meetings. One agent tracks deadlines. One model checks errors, sorts tasks, and suggests the next step. Each one only takes a little. But by the time you notice, the work that used to create your value has already been eaten away by more than half. That is why so many people collapse, not because they are lazy. They collapse because they do not realize their job is being taken apart right in front of them. The next mistake is thinking only easy jobs, repeatable jobs, or entry-level jobs are being targeted. No. This wave is also hitting people who once believed they belonged to the hard-to-replace group. An accountant looks at the numbers and thinks experience is enough protection. A young lawyer believes a machine cannot understand contracts like a person can. A doctor thinks diagnosis still belongs to years of human expertise. That all sounds reasonable. But the problem is that AI is no longer just a general model, giving broad answers. What is moving fast now is specialized AI, trained for one field and optimized for one kind of decision. When a system focuses only on medical imaging, genetic data, case law, or contract language, it does not need to be good at everything. It only needs to be good at the part of the job that makes money. And once it becomes faster, cheaper, and more stable at that part, the market will not ask how many years you studied. It will only ask one thing. Is keeping you still worth the cost? But what makes this wave more frightening than the earlier ones is not just each model by itself. It is what happens when they start working like a team. One agent researches. One agent writes. One agent cross-checks. One agent sends the result, watches the response, then updates the next round. That is the moment work no longer gets taken away in small pieces. It gets swallowed as a whole process. And if you think you can still escape into hands-on work, then look at the rest of the picture. Humanoid robots, physical automation, and lower-cost machine systems are moving out of the lab and into real factories, warehouses, and production lines. That means this time, it is not only office workers under threat. The people sitting in front of screens and the people standing on factory floors are both being pushed into the same filtering event. From here, the question is no longer, will AI reach my job? The question is, it is already here. So how much time do I have before it reaches me? The first technology you need to face is not a robot standing in the middle of a factory. It is the invisible team of AI agents quietly moving into the office. This is the thing that makes so many people careless, because it does not feel as threatening as a machine with arms and legs, but it is the first drill bit into the wall. One agent reads data. One agent summarizes. One agent assigns work. One agent tracks feedback. One agent reminds deadlines, builds reports, and sends them straight to the boss. It all sounds like small tasks. That is exactly the problem. A huge number of roles inside companies are really built on top of piles of small tasks like these. Once those parts get absorbed by a system, the chair is still there, but the inside starts going hollow. And this is the cruelest part. The company does not need to fire you right away to win. It only needs a team of AI agents to slowly take over 30, 41, then 60% of the old work. From that moment on, your salary gets squeezed, your power gets smaller, and your value starts sliding down without any layoff email ever showing up. The second technology is even more dangerous because it does not just take jobs. It changes the shape of the business itself. This is the rise of the one-person company. A company run by one person but operating with the strength of a small team. In the past, if you wanted to run a product, you needed researchers, writers, designers, customer support, marketers, and analysts. Now, one fast person can pull an entire AI-powered operation behind them and cover each step. That person is not necessarily more talented than everyone else. They just know how to break the old organization into something leaner. That is why this wave does not only hit employees, it hits the number of positions companies believe they need in the first place. If one founder, one marketer, one creator, or one seller can now produce the output of 5 people, then the company will not hire 5 people anymore. It hires fewer, leaner, harder to get into, and once that spreads wide enough, the crowd does not lose because it stopped working hard. It loses because the market suddenly no longer needs as many people as before. Demand does not disappear completely, but it gets compressed, and that is where the real squeeze begins. The third technology is specialized AI, and this is the one making even so-called brain jobs lose sleep. A general model can do many things, but a specialized model is the one that strikes directly at the money. A system optimized to read medical images does not waste time on poetry or casual conversation. A system trained for contract law does not need to know how to write social captions. It only needs to be excellent at the exact part of the job companies are willing to pay for. That is why so many highly educated people are still under threat. Not because AI is better than the whole human being, but because it is better at one valuable slice of the work. Once that slice gets pulled out, the total value of the worker starts getting dragged down with it. And this is the danger. A lot of people see AI still making mistakes, then feel relief. But the market does not demand perfection. It only demands something good enough, cheap enough, and fast enough to push margins down. Once that happens, years of experience stop being a guaranteed shield. They only delay the collision for a little while longer. But the real turning point is here. It is not each technology by itself. It is what happens when they stack on top of one another. Agents eat office work. Specialized AI eats expert work. Robots and physical automation squeeze hands-on work too. Once those 3 layers show up at the same time, the labor market does not change in a straight line anymore. It folds. A person pushed out of office work can no longer easily jump into manual work because machines are moving in there too. A person in the middle of the skill ladder can no longer easily climb into higher income because the most profitable slices of that work are already being peeled away by specialized AI. That is when the crowd starts facing a very hard truth. This is not a contest of who works harder. It is a contest of who moves out of the automation zone faster. A person who moves 1 year too late may need 3 years to recover. Because in this phase, the damage is not only losing the job, the damage is losing leverage, losing bargaining power, losing time, and losing faith that the old formula still works. And that is when the story turns colder than all the slogans about AI creating opportunity for everyone. Yes, opportunities will open up, but they will not open evenly for everyone. They open widest for the people who already have speed, skills, networks, or enough flexibility to turn themselves into a small system. For the crowd, the next 3 years may feel more like a narrowing hallway. You are still walking through it. You still have work. You still have income. But the walls are slowly pressing inward, and every month there is a little less room to breathe. That is why I say the most dangerous thing is not that AI is getting stronger. The most dangerous thing is realizing too late that you are standing in exactly the place technology wants to attack first. A person still living off repeatable work, a person still using busyness as the measure of value, a person still believing old experience can protect them by itself. Those people do not collapse in one night. They get worn down until one day they look back and realize they already fell out of the race. The biggest mistake right now is waiting until you get laid off before believing the wave has reached you. No. By the time that email arrives, the worst part usually started long before that. The real signs are much smaller. The job is still there, but the pay stops moving. You are still busy, but your bargaining power keeps getting weaker. The company still keeps you, but only as a temporary layer until the new system gets cheap enough to take the rest. That is the most painful turning point. Not when you lose the job, but when you are still working every day, still feeling useful, while the market has already quietly placed your work inside the easy-to-replace zone. And if you do not notice that moment in time, you will make a very expensive mistake. You will keep investing your hours into a version of yourself the market is paying less and less for every month. In this phase, the people who fall are not always the weakest ones. Very often, they are the people who believe too long that the old formula could still save them. So how do you survive from now until 2029? Step 1. Stop selling your labor in a form that can be easily pulled apart. If your work is mostly about doing more, faster, and more consistently inside a repeatable process, then you are standing in a red alert zone. Do not calm yourself with the line, "I work really hard." The market no longer gives special rewards just for hard work. It rewards the part of your value that machines still cannot peel away. What does that mean? It means you need to move closer to judgment, problem solving, handling exceptions, understanding customers, or taking responsibility when things go off course. A person who only knows how to complete tasks is different from a person who can spot where the process is leaking money. A person who only does their part is different from a person who can step in when the whole system loses rhythm. You do not need to quit tomorrow, but you do need to start moving out of the repeatable work zone. The longer you stay there, the easier it becomes for your value to get squeezed before you are ever fully replaced. Step 2. Learn to stand closer to leverage, not just closer to tasks. This is the point that separates the people who survive from the people who get crushed. Over the next 3 years, the people who keep their place best will usually not be the ones who know the most tools. They will be the ones who understand where revenue comes from, where customers stay or leave, and where the company is losing time and money. If you work in marketing, do not only create content, understand which content actually drives conversion. If you work in operations, do not only follow the checklist, understand where the whole system is slowing down. If you work in service, do not only answer customers, understand why they come back or why they leave. It sounds small, but it is a huge shift. You move from being a person who executes a task to being a person who understands why that task exists in the first place. And in the age of AI, understanding leverage is worth more than doing tasks. Tasks are what get automated first. Leverage is what businesses are still willing to pay to keep. Step 3. Do not build your future on one chair alone. Build yourself several small exit paths before the market forces you to turn in panic. That does not mean trying to do everything at once. It means deliberately building more than one way to survive. That may mean learning how to work with AI instead of ignoring it. It may mean understanding one extra layer of sales, data, customers, process management, or real operations. It may mean starting a side income stream that is too small to save you today, but real enough to become a way out later. The people who get trapped hardest in this wave are usually the ones who have only one source of value, inside one role, at one company, and still believe that is enough. It is not. When the rules change this fast, flexibility is no longer just a nice trait. It is a life vest. You do not need to become a tech genius, but you do need to stop living as if the market owes you stability. It does not owe that to anyone anymore. So if you still believe that working harder, staying tougher, and pushing longer will automatically carry you through the next 3 years of AI filtering, then it may be time to let go of that belief. What is coming is not just a few new office tools or a few robots on factory floors. What is coming is a full rearrangement of value, where repeatable work gets compressed. The middle gets squeezed thinner, and only the people who move early enough keep enough room to breathe. It sounds cold, but the colder it sounds, the more important it is to face it early. Because the winners in this phase will not be the people who simply push the hardest. They will be the people who realize early where they are standing on the cutting table. Then, change direction before the market forces them to. I am Max, and if videos like this help you see the wave more clearly, stay with the channel. Because in the next episode, we are going deeper into something even more dangerous than job loss. What happens when AI does not just replace labor, but starts replacing the way humans make decisions?